They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my Should a murderer go to jail for murdering?
Absolutely.
Should a thief go to jail when he steals?
Absolutely.
Should a robber pay back the money he robbed?
Absolutely.
So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did?
That's right. That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacle set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. Main fact of them here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles will make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage is safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember YAHANNA's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in a world of mad shooters. That was designed fire for our babies to pass through it. And the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Hey, shalom, 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 Israel. Yahweh Shabbat Katam to all the brothers. Yahshua Shai to all the sisters. I'm Christian Officer 1000 Adiyah with the I.S.U.P.K, which is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. We started on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. And for those that don't know, we are the home of the truth. You understand? We are the I.S.U.P.K. We are the only group, the only organization out there that tells you the truth about this Bible, right? We tell you the truth about who you are, who the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian are. You understand? A lot of people think that Black people in Canada, Black people in the United States, Black people that came from, you understand, the children of slaves that came in slavery in America are Africans. That is a complete lie. You understand? This is false in so many ways. Because when you go through history, when you go and do your research, you see the Jews were living in Africa. You see, you understand, there was places, you understand, that was named after the Jews, you understand, inside of Africa. You find Negro land, you find, you understand, Wida, and there's also places, you understand, like you could go in the map and see Africa, you understand, inside of Africa, the land of the Jews, you understand, the land of the Jews. You could find that in history, right? You could find that, you understand, that even the Jews that were in Spain, that were in Europe, when the oppressor, you understand, kicked them out, they went inside of Africa. Why? To hide amongst black people or colored people, you understand, dark skin colored people, you understand, so they could mingle in between us, and they won't, you understand, they won't be killed by the so-called Edomite, by the oppressor. The same thing happened in 70 AD. In 70 AD, what happened? You see all the Jews, you understand, a bunch of Jews, that over 1 million of Jews that were inside of Jerusalem fled into Africa, you understand, escaping the Roman persecution, you understand, because the Roman wanted to exterminate, you understand, the so-called Jew, the Jews, you understand, so they fled inside of Africa to assimilate, to hide, you understand, amongst other people that was dark skin color, but they are not the same people. You understand? African and Jews are not the same people. Black American, you understand, so-called Black American, so-called Asians, so-called Brazilian, so-called, you understand, all the so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Indian, you understand, they are the children of Israel. And that being said, that's what, you understand. This is why we do these classes for. This is why we are here for, to teach our people, the truth, to teach our people to come back to who they are. You understand? Just like it was prophesied in the Bible that they will come in captivity, in slavery, they will be shipped and sent amongst all the nations. But in the midst of the nation, they shall remember themselves, and they shall continue their culture, continue, you understand, continue the things, yes, that they were doing back in the day, keeping the laws that they weren't keeping inside of their land. All right. So today we have a class for you, scripture breakdown class. For everybody that's new, the sign-in link is provided. Sign in, you understand, sign your name in. We have it in French, we have it in English, in Spanish, and Portuguese also. So sign in your name. The sign-in link has been provided in the chat. All right. So what we're going to talk about today? Today we're going to talk about Canada's Day. We're going to see what Canada's Day is all about. It's a big feast. It's a big party in Canada. Certain slavery or certain job give that day off. A certain other job don't give that day off, right? But it's a big thing. So let's see what it is. Let me share my screen with y'all right quick. All right. Let me see it. When you can see it. All right, y'all can see it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. All right, and comment also. We want all the comments. You have comments, put it in the chat. Don't be shy. Just put your comments in the chat. All right. So let's get it. Day, right. Canada Day, French, Fête du Canada, formerly known as Dominion Day, la Fête du Dominion. What would they call it Dominion Day? Anybody out there? What would they call it Dominion Day? Or what was it known as Dominion Day? Let's go to the root word dominion. What does the word dominion mean? I have it right here in the dictionary. That's the Webster all-in-one dictionary. But also, I'm gonna share it with you. Oxford Language Dictionary. Right here. Let me share this instead. And now you have it. If you could see my screen, let me know. If you can't see the screen, let me know, right? Okay. Dominion, sovereignty or control, supremacy, ascendancy, dominance, domination, superiority, which means what? Dominion Day is a day where Canada, or La Fête du Canada, the Canada Day is a day where Canada shows its superiority, its supremacy. Against whom, may you ask? Was it against the English, or against the French, or what's, you understand, so on? Let's go see. Let's keep on going on Canada's Day. But as you can see, it is sovereignty or control, the territory of a sovereign or government. All right. Keep that word control in your mind, which means that the Canada has dominance towards a certain group of people. Yeah, let's go. Let's go back to Canada's Day. It is the National Day of Canada, a federal statutory holiday. It celebrates the anniversary of Canadian Confederation, which occurred on July 1st, 1867, with the passing of the British North America Act in 1867, when the three separate colonies of the United Canada, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick were united into a single dominion with the British Empire called Canada. Which means what? Which means all these different groups of Edomite or fraction of the empire became as one. They became together and made what you see today as Canada, right? Let's keep on going. Originally called Dominion Day, le jour de la Confédération. Just like you see in the United States, they have the Confederacy, which is basically talking about the racist group in southern United States. It's the same thing that you have over here. It's the Confederation, which is really racist, which is really white supremacy. And that dominion, right? Since dominion means, you understand, to have power over something. What did they have power against? Or over? What was Canada fighting all this time ever since they came over here? What was these white people fighting? I'll give you a second. What was Canada fighting during those times when they came in Canada and so on? Who were they fighting? Was there another group of people living in Canada during those times? Yes, there was. There was a group called the Native Indian, the children of God, the Gadite, the tribe of Gad, according to the Bible and according to real history. They were the Gadites living over here in Canada. And the French and the English had to destroy the Native Indians so they could have Canada. So they could have those three confederacy or those three dominions get together and form one dominion, which is really power over the Native Indian, which is really the destruction of the Native Indian. This is how you get Canada. It is because of the destruction of God's chosen people. You have Canada today, which is celebrating Canada Day is really a slap in the face of the Native Indian, because this land belonged to the Native Indian. Meanwhile, they are in reservation today. There was a genocide that was committed in Canada, and Canada doesn't want to talk about it. There's a lot of things that Canada doesn't want to talk when it comes to Native Indian. Why? Because of all the atrocity done to the Native Indian. And Canada, when in the world power structure, you'll find that Canada is one of the countries that goes to other countries trying to help liberate that country. Meanwhile, you have Native Indian over here that are living in reservation that has went through a genocide unlike other group of people on earth, except the Negro and Latino. And still today, there's no solution. Still today, there was no justice given to the Native Indian. So is God for the Canada's Day? Is God for Canada? No. God cannot be for Canada. Why? Because Canada was built on bloodshed. And we'll see what the Bible says about bloodshed. But first of all, I want to bring you to a verse. Let's go to Psalm 55, verse 20. All right? Psalm 55, verse 20. Let me get there with you. All right? So this is good. Let's see what Canada did if it's in the Bible, right? Now, for those that don't know the history of Canada, the history of the United States, the oppressor came over here when the Native Indians were already living over here. And it started with Christopher Columbus. And after that, you had other so-called explorers that came in Canada, that went South America and so on, right? Now, when they came in Canada, did the native fought them right away? Did the native kick them out? What did the native do to the European or the oppressor that came in Canada? They welcome them with open hand. They welcome them like you would welcome somebody in your house. Matter of fact, when the Canadian or the oppressor couldn't even grow no crops. Why? Because they couldn't survive. Some of them couldn't survive the winter and so on. They didn't know how to plant the field, how to work the field. So the native worked double time for the oppressor. They worked double time. They worked so they could eat, and they also worked seeing that the oppressor was struggling with his plantation, with his crops. They also worked for the oppressor and make sure that he has something to eat during the winter. That's peace. That's love. That's brotherhood. That's what the native Indians showed the oppressor. Real brotherhood. I see my brother has difficulty in something, I will double time just for my brother. That's real brotherhood. That's how the native welcomed the oppressor. And in return, what did they do? In return, they took the crops that the native gave them, and afterward, they went as far as to try to kill the native Indian for their own crops. They're trying to extinct the buffaloes so the native Indian won't have no source of meat, no source of fur to survive during the winter. They give them smallpox. This is how Canada was built. This is Canada today. This is that dominion through bloodshed, through hate, through envy. And what does the Bible say? Psalm 55 verse 20. He hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. The native Indians were at peace with the so-called oppressor. They didn't harm them. You understand? Hey, Officer Shalom, Shalom, priest Yahweh Shem Shem Thah. All right, Officer Shalom will be with us in the future.
Hey, Yahweh Shem Shem Thah.
What's going on, priest?
Hey, not much. I'm just trying to get set up real quick, sir. Salaki.
All right, no. Like the native Indians were at peace with the so-called oppressor. They were at peace with the Edomite. Help the Edomite. Go look in the stories. The Edomites came over here with diseases. The native Indians showed them how to cure those diseases. Headaches, fever. They came over here without even taking showers, not knowing that you got having a sense of hygiene. The native Indians showed them hygiene. The native Indians took care of their kids. In return, they slaughtered them. This is Canada's day. This is the part of Canadian culture or Canadian history that you won't get during those days. They won't say blatantly, well, we are proud of the slaughter that we committed on the native Indian, but really that dominion is that slaughter, that genocide on native Indian. The Bible says what? He put forth his hand against him that was at peace with him, man. This is how Canada was built. This is how the United States was built. By slaughtering another group of people that was at peace with you. And now you're going to tell me that those people got to be saved? Saved from what? They are the oppressors. They are the ones that are going all over the earth and slaughtering people. What are they going to be saved from? But those being oppressed by them need salvation. Those native Indians in the reservation that who cannot even get no clean water in those reservations, they need salvation. Understand? They need that salvation. This is kind of the day. And we have in charge of Shalom. Everybody got to Shalom. Y'all watching the All right. So like you put the volume and low it down because I'm hearing myself in the background. All right.
Salaki, can you say that again on the one? You're a little low.
I'm hearing myself in the background. I don't know your part. I'm listening to a reverb. All right. All right. Psalm 55 verse 20. He hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He has broken his covenant. How many treaties is there in Canada, Officer Shawan?
Salaki, I think it was over 150.
over 100 treaties, covenant, right? How many did the white man keep?
Not one of them, sir.
Not one of them. That's in the Bible, man.
Okay.
Your Christian preacher will never tell you that. What Canada did to those Native Indians is in the Bible. Because that's his way of being. That's his way of, that's his nature. That's the nature of the so-called oppressor. To tell you a good story, to tell you, okay, I'll sign this treaty with you. I'll make a contract with you. I won't oppress you. I won't steal your land. I won't rape your kids. I won't rape your woman. Meanwhile, this is exactly what's in their mind. To destroy. You'll be at peace with the serpent. You'll be at peace with the dragon, and the dragon will burn you. The dragon will devour you. That's the spirit of the so-called oppressor. He had put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant, which means his treaties. They didn't keep not one treaty that they made with those Native Indians, man. They broke every single one of them. And this is why we say they cannot be trusted. You cannot trust the so-called oppressor, man. Is that in the Bible? Let's keep on going. Verse 21. Verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. They tell you a good game. We come in the name of democracy. We're gonna bring you democracy. You have a dictatorship. We're gonna bring you a good thing. Democracy. Everybody's equal. You gotta vote. Everybody could vote. The woman could vote. The children could vote. Everybody. It's democracy. It is love. Meanwhile, we see exactly what democracy brings. We see the Iraq. We see those countries in the Middle East. Where's that democracy? We see what they did in Libya with Gaddafi. And now Libya when Gaddafi was there. Libya was where? Gaddafi even wanted to turn his money into gold. They went over there. They said, "Oh, we're gonna bring you democracy." Gaddafi's been there for too long. Meanwhile, Gaddafi used to be in the UN, coming in the United States, eating with them, partying with them. The word of his mouth was smoother than butter. The devil talks a good game. They talk a good game to you. They'll tell you something really good to your ears, just like the serpent in the garden, just like the serpent begot Eve. They'll tell you a good game. But war was in his heart. What was in his heart? War. What was in his heart? Genocide. What was in his heart? The fact that they slaughtered the Native Indians, gave them smallpox, killed the buffaloes, destroyed them, raped their kids. And we know about what happened in the Catholic Church with those natives. We know what they did, all those unmarked graves. We know that they were killing children in those churches. How did those Native Indians become Christian in the first place? By slaughter. This is why you have Native Indians with a cross on their neck going to church in the Christian church by slaughter. This is why they believe that Christ is a white man, by slaughter. They talk a good game, but war is in his heart. That's the nature of the oppressor, man. Understand? His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Isn't that what happened in Canada? This is your Canada days, man. This is what you're celebrating today, Canadian, French, and English, man. This is what you're really celebrating, man. You understand? Yeah, come. Understand? So Shawan, let's see if we could still hear the reverb bubble cup.
Sir, how's that?
I hear you fine. What about on my side?
Come, sir. I can hear you. You hear you fine.
Okay, no. Most in Christ. Let's get it. Understand? This is what Canada Day is about. The slaughter of God's chosen people. And why do we say those native of God's chosen people? Because they are the tribe of Gad, the Gadites. Understand? They are the Gadites of the Bible. And you could find a prophecy about them being destroyed in Genesis. Matter of fact, let's get it, Officer Shawan. You know what I want. Genesis chapter 49, verse 19. Let's see what the Bible says about the guy.
Okay, sis.
Everything is recorded in the Bible, man. The nature of the oppressor, the nature of the Israelite, what will happen to the Israelite, where will they be? All this is recorded in the Bible. All these are in the prophecies in the Bible, man. It's time for you to wake up, guys, because this land belongs to you. In Canada, the fact that you murder and enslave the native, put them in reservation on their own land, and not ever give them justice, you have a price to pay, and you won't be able to pay the price. You have to pay with your life, the same way you make the Native Indian pay for it with their life. This is your Canada Day. Canada Day should be a day where every Caucasian, every oppressor in Canada take a time and reflect on how they got this land, on the genocide they committed on Native Indians. That should be what Canada Day is about. Not Dominion Day, not dominion over the Native Indians. This should be a day you take time and reflect and think about how many oppressors, how many Native children, Native family you destroyed to have that land. Hey, Angelique Emmanuel, hey, Shalom, Shalom, Sis Yahshua Shah. This is what Canada Day should be about. Understand? Let's get it off, Sis Yahshua.
Come on, come on. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him.
God, a troop shall overcome them. This is the troop that overcome them is the Canadian cavalry, American cavalry, the Canadian army, the British army, the French army. Those oppressors that came over here, starting from with Christopher Columbus, man. A troop shall overcome that God. God is overcome being in the reservation on their own land. God is overcome when they have no good infrastructure on their own land. God has been overcome. Keep on going.
Okay. But he shall overcome at the last.
He shall do what?
Overcome at the last.
This is for your Canada Day, man. The same way you oppress and destroy God's children, the tribe of God, they will overcome at last. That's in the prophecy. They will receive salvation from your hand because you have been an evil monster against the tribe of God, God's chosen people, man. You have been a despiteful, something to despise a lot. There's so many words in my mouth, in my head right now to say against the oppressor, but you have been so evil towards God's chosen people, man. And not only that, you have Canada was built on the back of slave as well. You never hear those stories. You never hear the story of the slave, the black slave in Canada, man. Meanwhile, this country was built from the back of slave, the native and the so-called black slave, man. A troop shall overcome God. God is overcome right now, also shall one. I went in Kanawaki one time. I'm saying there's a good Putin spot over there. I went over there, also shall one. I realized they were living just like some country, third world country living in the Caribbean, just like Haiti. There's people in Haiti that have better houses than those in the reservation, man. I was shocked, Officer Shawan. Yet you know what God does? Live in peace, even in his own misery. Live in peace, even in his own misery, man. All they want is to be left alone. It broke my heart, also, Shawan, seeing how those Native Indians were living inside of their own land, their own country, man. It broke my heart, Officer Shawan. And I was like, damn. Truly, those people are God's chosen people. Because that's everybody else, every other nation comes in Canada. The Arabs come in Canada, makes money. Not one of them think about the Native Indian. Let's say a war break down in those Arabian countries, right? What do you hear? Well, justice for me. Pray for me. That's all you hear. Pray for Iraq. Pray for Afghanistan. Pray for all these things. You know, the American are killing us. Yet they come over here, Officer Shawan. They don't give a damn about the guys. They don't give a damn about the African the same. They come over here, they don't give a damn about the Native Indian. The Chinese the same. Matter of fact, a lot of people want to claim, well, they come from Siberia. They were like Asian that came from Siberia. How come the Chinese don't give a damn about the Native Indian if that's their family? If that's their people, why they don't give a damn about the Native Indian? Matter of fact, let me blow your mind off, Sashawan and everybody else. How many Christians pray for the Native Indian? How many Christians pray for justice for the Native Indian? Uh-oh. Not one, Officer Shawan, because praying for justice for the Native Indian will mean the destruction of their oppressor. That's what justice is. You destroy the people, you shall be destroyed as well. Understand? All right, we could drop that. Let's go back to the article. Let me share it on the chat. All right, I'll share it on the chat. So, originally called Dominion Day, the holiday was renamed in 1982, the same year that the Canadian Constitution was patriated by the Canadian Act of 1982, which severed the vestiges of legal dependence on the Parliament of the United Kingdom. Canada Day celebration takes place throughout the country as well as in various locations around the world, attended by Canadians living abroad. Which means even outside of Canada, also Shawan, they are proud that for the fact that the Native Indian were destroyed.
Right.
And what do we see in the picture? Sadly, we see a Native Indian celebrating Canada Day. Meanwhile, Canada Day is about the destruction, the dominion. Again, we see the word dominion, what the meaning of the word dominion, which means domination, dominance, supremacy. It is the dominions of the Canadian government, of the oppressor, over those Native Indians. This is what Canada, the United States, the oppressor did to us. We celebrate the fact that they destroy us, man. And nobody sees something wrong with that outside of the UPK. Imagine somebody coming to your house, killing all your family, your children, you're raping your wives. They make a big party. They make a big party saying, well, you know what? I have dominion over your house now. Now, couple years, 20 years after, your children and children, those that survive, now they're celebrating that same day. Imagine, this is what happens in Canada now. You understand? Commemoration. Canada Day is often informally referred to as Canadians' birthday, Canada's birthday selection, particularly in the popular press. However, the term birthday can be seen as an oversimplification, as Canada Day is the anniversary of only one important national milestone on the way to the country's full sovereignty, namely the joining on July 1st, 1967 of the colonies of Canada, divided into Ontario and Quebec, Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, into a wider British Federation of 4 provinces. You understand? This is what Canada Day is about, man. And again, the word, they switch it from the word dominion to Canada Day. But we all know the word dominion means sovereignty, supremacy, dominions, you understand? Meanwhile, Canada was built by how, Officer Shawan? Was it built by love?
Nah, sir.
How was it built?
By destroying a nation of people.
destroying a nation of people. You know what I want? Let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 12.
Come on, sir.
Canada was built not because they loved the Native Indian, not because they cherished the Native Indian, they saw them as another group of people. They didn't even see the Native Indian as human. They saw them as savages. Imagine this, Officer Shawan. I come to your house, right? You feed me, you clothe me, you show me how to grow crops, survive in the winter. You show me hygiene. Then I call you savage. Imagine that, Officer Shawan. Now you are the savage. Well, I'm the one that's invading your house, and I dare to call you savage. That's what Canada did, man. That's your Canada Day, man. Let's go. What you got?
Come on, sir. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12.
Go ahead.
Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, man. How was Canada built?
With blood.
With blood. With genocide. That's how Canada was built. By killing Native Indians, by raping their mothers, by raping the kids, killing the kids, ripping the babies outside of the stomach, man. While the mother's still alive, killing that baby while the mother's still alive, and watching in the suffering, watching the baby being killed, man. That's how Canada was built. It wasn't built by holding flowers and kissing the Native Indian. Yeah. It was built by blood. What does the Bible say?
Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
That's then. Woe to him that build a town with blood, man. And what does the word woe mean? Great sorrow or distress, misery, destruction, sadness. Which means what? There's gonna be a great misery, a great struggle, a great distress coming to Canada, man, for what they have done to the Native Indian, coming to the French and the Englishmen, for what they have done to the Native Indian. Because they built the town with blood. Let's go to drop to verse 4, Bible question.
Come. Verse 4. Behold, his sword which is lifted up is not upright in him.
And what?
His sword which is lifted up is not upright in him.
You understand? They're puffed up. The Canada Day is something puffed up. Is the pride of the oppressor. Understand? His soul is not right inside of him. Keep on going.
But the just shall live by his faith.
The just shall live by his faith. Keep on going.
Verse 5. Ye also, because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man.
He is a what?
Proud man.
What is the Canadian government?
A proud man.
What is the French?
A proud man.
They are prideful, man. They are prideful. I talk to a lot of Edomite also, Shawan. When I talk about the Native Indian, you know what they say? Well, we destroyed them. It was a war. It was a war. We destroyed them. And they don't feel bad about it, Officer Shawan. They are proud of the fact that they destroyed the Native Indian. They are proud of that. They don't feel bad at all for the fact that they destroyed a people that was at peace with them. The Native Indian didn't take arms at first and slaughter them. They welcomed them with open hand, with brotherhood. And they put their hand forth against those Native Indians. They are a pride race of people, man. Keep on going.
Come. Neither keepeth at home.
Neither what?
Neither keepeth at home.
Go ahead.
Who enlargeth his desire as hell.
Who enlarges his desire as hell. They want everything, Officer Shawan. They want everything. Let's say, Officer Shawan, let's say the Native Indian finds some source of water in those reservations. You know what the oppressor will do?
God, sir.
Go get that water, bottle up that water, and sell that water.
Right.
Understand? They can never be satisfied. They want everything. This is why they're in Haiti right now, taking the gold. Even though the country is destroyed, they're taking the gold. Even though Haiti paid France billions of dollars, they're still taking money out there. They still go in other people's land and slaughter them just to get the resources. They are prideful, man. They can never be satisfied. Keep on going.
Come. And is as death. And
is
cannot be. And is as death.
Go ahead.
And cannot be satisfied.
Is as death. Like death, people die every day. There's never one time where death say, well, you know what? I had enough of people. I'm going to stop. It is exactly like the oppressor. And just to say it, the oppressor kills every day. The oppressor never say, well, today might be a day I stop killing. I have some compassion for the victim I oppressed. Nah, they kill every day. Matter of fact, don't they say they're modifying the food, modifying the crops? Why? Kill people. Understand? Poisoning the water, poisoning everything. Why? Not to see people survive, to kill. They are just like death. They can never be satisfied. They can never have enough. Keep on going.
Come. But gathereth unto him all nations.
Oh. But gathereth unto him all nations. What does the oppressor do? So like, the oppressor goes to country and country trying to colonize everything. Trying to colonize every damn country, bring democracy in every country. Now they think they can do that with Russia, they can do that with China right now. But if they could, they would. That's in the Bible. That's the spirit of the oppressor. That's the spirit of the heathen, man. Keep on going.
And heapeth unto him all people.
Keepeth where?
Heapeth unto him all people.
No, but Officer Shawan, we all equal, right?
Heapeth unto him all people.
No, but Officer Shawan, it is humanity. We are the same.
Heapeth unto him all people.
This is white supremacy. This is white supremacy in the Bible. Everybody else is below the so-called oppressor in their own mind. This is why they dare say, well, I seen the oppressor tell a Mexican brother, go back to your own country. Meanwhile, he's in Texas.
Right.
Meanwhile, Texas belongs to the Mexicans, to the tribe of I.S.U.P.K. The oppressor tells the Mexican, go back to your country. Meanwhile, this is his land. This is white supremacy, man. This is exactly the way that they are. And you cannot change the oppressor. You will never change the oppressor. They are born like that. That's in the Bible. They are born that way. You cannot change something that was made to be like this. Keep on going.
Come. Verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
Well, Officer Shawan, there's a good news coming. The good news that is coming, that all this thievery, all these stolen items, all this robbing the earth, robbing the nation, is going to come back in the face of the oppressor, Officer Shawan. Understand? Now, I don't see no salvation and written over here for the oppressor. I see there's going to be destruction. Woe means destruction. Destruction, why? Because of all of his character, because of his action, man. Not because he has the color of his skin. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about crimes that they committed and that need to be brought to justice, man. And God is going to send an excellent judge and executioner called YAHANNA, him you call Jesus Christ. He's going to bring justice to the so-called land, man. Why? Because the oppressor have been robbing and stealing everywhere he goes. They steal the land in Canada and say it is called Dominion Day, Canada Day, the birth of Canada. Meanwhile, there was another race of people living in Canada that you slaughtered, that you destroyed. Keep on going.
Come on. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee?
You understand? These are the nations about to rise up against the oppressor, man. There's a news that I seen recently of SHALAM, where the oppressor made it, I believe it was Sweden or one of these European countries. They made it legal to burn up the Quran. They made it legal, and the next day you seen a bunch of Muslims protesting. And I was happy. I was clapping my hand off SHALAM because I know when these Muslims get loose, when the Most High let these Muslims loose, they're gonna bring hell to the oppressor. And World War III is on the verge is already here. So you already know the scenario. You already know what's gonna happen. Everything that you stole, the oppressor, everything that you stole, this land, you stole a people, you stole God's chosen people. All this is gonna come and bite you in the face. Because the Lord is the Lord, God is a God of justice, man. And justice will reign on this land. Justice will reign in this earth, man. And for justice to reign, you have to fall. You have to be destroyed, man. Canada, this is the prophecy. Listen to the prophecy. All you Canadian politicians and leaders, listen to these prophecies, man. You destroy God, people. Don't think that Canada is gonna be a place where all hell broke loose. We're gonna be good. It's gonna be like a heaven, safe heaven for the world, for those that strive for the rich. Nah, you're gonna be destroyed as well. Keep on going, us.
Okay. And awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them.
What does that mean? That shall be for booties to them.
It's like I don't want to guess. If I could look that up.
Of course.
I think it has to do with like a spoil. But
Exactly. You understand? That's exactly what it is. Like, you understand? You could say spoils of war or booties of war. Okay. And for those out there, when we say booties, it's not talking about the rear hand. You understand? It's talking about spoils of war. It's talking about pillage. Those are the nations gonna come over here and steal everything. Now I know you seen in the United States a lot of time where you see a bunch of people go in the store and come back out and the store is empty. You about to see more of that frequently. You about to see that in every level, in every aspect of this life in Canada. You about to see that, especially with World War III coming up. You about to see that people going inside of people's house and taking and robbing everything. And these are the nations, just like the Arabs, they're gonna do it. The Africans, they're gonna do it. Why? Because you did the same to them. Keep on going.
Come. Verse 8. Because thou hast spoiled many nations.
Because what?
Thou hast spoiled many nations.
Now, this is justice of SHALAM. It's not because of the color of their skin, because they committed those crimes. So the same crimes that you committed, those same crimes will you have to pay and answer for. And according to the Bible, those same crimes will happen to you. You rob and spoil people, they will do the same to you. This is justice in the Bible. Understand? It wouldn't make sense for the oppressor to be saved. You understand? After pillaging, after spoiling a bunch of people, after taking the so-called black, Hispanics, and Native Indian in captivity, put them, making slave out of them, making them work without pay from sunset to sundown. You understand? So like us from sunrise to sunset, making them work. It wouldn't be just for them to be saved and to be in the same place as those that are oppressed. Where's the justice in that? There's no justice in that. The justice is that they will have to pay for what they have done. And the Bible says, prepare war for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, because they benefit from those crimes. Because they never gave justice to the Native Indians till today. So the same thing gotta happen to them. That's only right. Keep on going.
Come.
Shalom, shalom, sister Nawa, shalom, Yashima Tabashim Yoshai. Also, Barkella says, Sweden have a Quran burning parade. Yes, sir. You understand? And this is what we need. We want to see that because we want World War III to come, man. Because we know that World War III is the end of this empire. We know that Christ is gonna come in the midst of World War III, just like it's prophesied in the Bible, man. You understand? Keep on going, Officer Shawan.
Come. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee.
Go ahead.
Because of men's blood and for the violence of the land.
Because of men's blood, because they have been. So, like Officer Shawan or anybody out there, what race of people killed more than the so-called white men?
Slovakia, otherwise.
Go ahead.
Nobody has come close to killing how many people.
Officer Shawan. I haven't seen. I love history, Officer Shawan. Yes, of course we see that there was wars in other nations. We see in Egypt, like let's take Egypt for example. I know they killed a lot of people. You understand? But nobody has came close to what the oppressor did. You have Leopold in Africa killed over a million souls, man. You have that dude with the mustache, the funny mustache, right? Killed a bunch of people. You have Christopher Columbus and the rest of his bandits killed a bunch of people, millions of people, man. Nobody has came close to be, you understand, to being a murderer on this land, on this earth, than the so-called oppressor, man. Nobody has killed more than the oppressor on this earth, man. Well, because of that, he has to pay. Because of that, the Bible says, woe to you. Keep on going.
Come. And for the violence of the land of the city.
And the violence of the land of the city. You seen all the violence that's going on. You seen how they kill Native. Matter of fact, there was the submarine that imploded the other day of Sashawan. Every news channel was focusing on that story, right?
God.
How many news article and news channel focus on those Native Indian women that are being kidnapped and missing? You know what? They're missing every day. We don't see them. We don't hear about it. How many black men are being killed? Black babies are being killed in the United States. You understand? It is something vile and disgusting to have the biggest empire on the earth. Meanwhile, you have violence in your land. You have no sense of justice. You understand? It is disgusting. It is hell. And for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. You understand? There's no worse kingdom that came on the face of the earth than this kingdom. It's like God kept the worst for last. You are the proverb, keep the best for last. Well, God kept the worst for last, man. This kingdom is evil as hell. You understand? All right. Let's go. All right, you read verse 12 already. All right, drop that. Bring me to Nahum chapter 3, verse 1.
Come.
So let's go to Nahum chapter. Whenever, if you want to say something, please go ahead. All right, don't mind me. All right.
Come, sir.
Anybody in the chat you want to comment, just put in the comment. All right. All right. Let's go to Nahum chapter 3, verse 1.
Come, sir. It's the book of Nahum, chapter 3, verse 1. Woe to the bloody city.
Woe to who?
The bloody city.
Understand? Again, woe to the bloody city. Why? Because so much crimes are being committed. They build those down with blood. Keep on going.
It is all full of lies and robbery.
It is all full of what?
Lies and robbery.
Isn't that the same for Canada today?
Come on, sir.
Matter of fact, they gave this country, they gave this empire by lying to the Native Indian. Over 100 treaties with the Native Indian. They didn't keep not one of them. You understand? Woe to the bloody city, man. Understand? It's time for us to realize this. There's no salvation for this land. Salvation is for you that are being oppressed in these lands, man. You being saved from those people that hate you, from your oppressor that keeps oppressing you and never give you justice, and they will never give you justice, man. Keep on going.
The prey departeth not.
The prey departeth not. You understand? All they want is to prey on somebody. They need somebody to prey on. That's America. That's Canada, man. They need somebody to prey on. Why you think they're bringing all these, allowing all these nations and to come over here to do what? To become rich? No. Then allow them to come over here to build this empire. And when it's time to fight for them. But guess what? They're not going to fight for you, Canada. Those Arabs are not going to fight for you. You could allow them in. You could give them money. You could give them a place to stay that's better than the Native Indian. They are not going to fight for you. They will destroy you. Understand? All right, drop that. Let's go to chapter 1, verse 2.
Come on. Nahum chapter 1 and verse 2. God is jealous.
God is what?
Jealous.
Go ahead.
And the Lord revengeth.
The Lord does what?
Revengeth.
You understand? It is something stupid that those empires do not understand. Once you put your hand on those so-called black, Hispanics, and Native Indian, you have a death wish upon your head. Understand? You have a death wish upon your head. And the Lord will bring revenge. The Lord will bring vengeance to you, man. Keep on going.
The Lord revengeth and is furious.
God is furious, man. You think God is watching? Like this is why I don't understand with Christians. Like those empires took God's chosen, the 12 tribes of Israel. Every other single empire we read in the Bible that took those people in slavery, what did God do to them, Officer Shalom?
Select the other one. I missed that question.
Like every other empire, when you read the Bible, right? Every other empire that took those 12 tribes in captivity and slavery, what did God do to those empires?
Oh, so it's like he destroyed them all.
He destroyed them all. Now come in 2000, in the year 2000, in the year 1492, and until today. Now these people still have God's chosen people in captivity, the 12 tribes in captivity. Now all of a sudden, God is going to change and save everybody. Meanwhile, those 12 tribes are in need of salvation. Those 12 tribes are being mistreated without justice. They're seeking justice for Ukraine. They're seeking justice for every other nation except those 12 tribes. It doesn't make sense. The Lord is furious. The Lord is not happy for the fact that he's saying these people, you understand? He's chosen people into captivity and slavery. The Lord is not happy saying that Canada is boasting Canada Day, Dominion Day. Meanwhile, those Native Indians are in reservation on their own land. God is not happy the fact that they give those Native Indians smallpox and nobody went to jail. Nobody was persecuted. This is chemical warfare. Well, who paid for that chemical warfare that they used against the Native Indian? Who paid for the fact that the United States government gave those black men in Atlanta, around Atlanta, syphilis? And they did the same in South America. Who's paying for that? So everybody could be saved and nobody got to pay for it. You understand? These people are not going to pay for the crime they committed. And even those children, you understand, their children are taking advantage and benefit of those crimes. They're not gonna pay. God is a furious man. Keep on going.
Come. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries.
Whoa. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries. When you have an adversary, that means you have somebody you're against, right?
Right.
You have an opponent. So the Most High has opponents. Who are the opponent of the Most High? Like Christian will say, this is talking about Satan and the angels and the demon. No, it's not. Who are the adversary of the Most High? Go ahead.
Anybody who lays a hand on his people.
Woo! You see that meme where Lil Wayne was like, woo! That's the face I want to make on the shower. Let's say that again. One more question.
Anybody who lays a hand on his chosen people.
Do you have a precept?
So I can grab one.
Let's give it to the people because you say something powerful. The adversary of God, of the Most High, is anybody that lay a hands on the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian. The fact that the United States, Canada took those people in slavery, they became adversaries of God, man. The fact that the Chinese take advantage of the fact that they are in oppression, those people in captivity, they become adversaries of God. The fact that the Arabs do the same, they become adversaries of God, man. The fact that the Africans sold the Jews to the European, they became adversaries of God, man. You understand? Which means what? These other nations become adversaries of God. It is not Satan and the angel, it is these other nations. Every other nation that has an end in our captivity is an adversary of God. And God is going to bring vengeance, man. You understand? You got that precept?
Come on, sir. I have a precept.
Come on, let's go. Let's go because they might not believe you, also, Shawan. They might not believe you. Oh, no, it's not really true. It's not. They are not adversaries of God because of that. They might not understand that. Let's see what the Bible says then.
Come on, sir. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 2 and verse 8.
Yes.
For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you touches the apple of his eye.
Ooh, read that again, Officer Shawan.
Come on, sir. For thus saith the Lord of hosts.
Thus said the Lord of hosts. This is God speaking, not my words, not the prophet's words. This is what God wants. Go ahead.
After the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you.
You understand? He's sending that prophet unto the other nation that spoiled Israel, which is exactly what those Arabs are doing today. They spoiled God's chosen people. They know that we're in captivity. Matter of fact, the Arabs know that we are the Jews. They never say a goddamn word. Meanwhile, they're in our community getting the money of our community. The Chinese do the same thing. The Africans do the same thing. Meanwhile, the Gadites, the children of God, are here. They're getting rich of the fact that those Gadites are not even governing their own land. Keep on going.
Okay. For he that toucheth you touches the apple of his eye.
You understand? Imagine sticking your finger in somebody's eyes. It hurts, right? Well, this is what you do to God when you touch those people. This is why the scripture that we were reading before, it said God is furious. Why? Because he that touches Israel, and who is Israel? You so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian. You are God's chosen people, man. And whoever touches you is an enemy to God. That's what it's saying. You understand? Which means the oppressor, the so-called Edomite, you understand, the so-called oppressor, those people that put the Native Indian in reservation. I know you want them to be saved, but there will not be salvation for them. Why? Because they are enemies of God. Because for the fact that they put those Native Indian in reservation, in captivity. Because you understand, all these treaties, you understand, over 100 treaties of peace that they have, you understand, they wrote down and signed with those Native Indian. They did not keep one treaty. Not even one. Over 100 treaties, not keeping one. This is how Canada was born. This is the birthday of Canada. Understand? He who touches Israel touches the apple of his eyes, man. You become an enemy to God by touching those guys, by touching those Negroes, by touching those Latinos, man. Understand? That's excellent precept, SHALAM. Excellent precept. Understand? And let's go back to where we was at.
Come on, come. It's the book of Nahum, chapter 1 and verse 2. Slack, you want me to read it from the top?
From the top, Bible question.
Come on, sir. Verse 2. God is jealous, and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth, and is furious.
The Lord is furious. He's going to bring vengeance, you understand? He's going to be revenge for the fact that so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians have been oppressed for all this time. For over 500 years, man, those Native Indians have been oppressed. And not 1 inch of justice was given to them. Not 1 inch of mercy was given to them, man. You understand? Matter of fact, they can't even build no building, major building or construct. You understand? Their own communities, you understand, with some decency, man. They are oppressed left and right. They are restricted of building up. You understand? The Lord is furious, man. Keep on going.
The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies.
He reserveth what?
Wrath for his enemies.
No, so shall one. The enemy shall be saved.
He reserveth wrath for his enemies.
Well, we're all gonna be together singing Hallelujah, Christ is come.
He reserveth wrath for his enemies.
He reserveth wrath for his enemies, man. The Lord reserves something evil, an evil day, a dark day for every so-called oppressor, for every so-called Edomite, for every so-called nation that had an end in the captivity and slavery, in the oppression of so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the 12 tribes of Israel, man. These are the enemies of God. You don't want to be in the enemies of God? Elevate those people then. This is why you understand the context of everybody should be gonna be saved doesn't make sense, because these other nations are enemies of God. Just by the fact that they know every other nation outside of Canada and the United States. What I mean by that, I mean by those that are born over here and then went to church, school over here, right? Like the oppressor, for instance, in Canada. And most of them do not know that the black man in America is the real Jew. Most of them do not. When you go to these other nations, like the Arabian countries, they know for a fact that those black people in Canada, they are Jews. They know for a fact. The African knows for a fact that we are the Jews. The Chinese know for a fact that we are the Jews. But not one of them will open their mouth and say, that's the enemies of God. That's the enemy of God. By not even telling the truth to those people, you become an enemy of God. You understand? All right, let's drop that. Where shall we go next? I have an article for you. Quick, but before we go to the article, let's get Ezekiel chapter 36, Bible question. Let's get Ezekiel chapter 36.
Okay.
Let's see what God said.
So I can serve from verse 1.
Come, question, please.
Okay. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36, and verse 1. Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel.
Go ahead.
And say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord. Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord God, because the enemy hath said against you, Aha.
That means the enemy is laughing at us, right? Understand? This is kind of the day, man. The kind of the day is a slap in the face of the Native Indian. Canada Day is the government of Canada saying, to the Native Indian. Right. We got you. Don't forget, it was called Dominion Day at first. Dominion over who? Over whom? Over the native Indian. Over the tribe of God. They say, ha ha. Keep on going.
Even the ancient high places are ours in possession.
Everything is our possession now. Not just you. Your land is my possession now. You understand? Your burial ground, the place that you hold sacred, your the place where you were worshiping your God, they all belong to us now. Matter of fact, they're making building over Native Indian burial ground. They don't give a damn. They say, aha. They don't care. And what did God say? Your enemies, not your friend, your enemies. A friend will not destroy you. A friend, you understand, a brother will not destroy you. A brother will not say, well, you know what, you've been destroyed for all this time, never received justice. Well, I'm still not going to give you justice. I'm still not going to talk about, you understand, with the justice that you deserve. A friend wouldn't do that. The enemy would. And this is why we got to get out from these Christian churches. Why? Because not one Christian church is speaking against, you understand, on behalf of the native Indian. They said, ha ha. Keep on going.
Oh God. Verse 3. Therefore prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord God, because they have made you desolate.
Because they have made you what?
Desolate.
They have made the native Indian what?
Desolate.
Those reservations are what?
Desolate.
Desolate, man. You destroy a race of people, man. Understand? Keep on going.
And swallowed you up on every side.
Swallowed you up on every side. You understand? You've been swallowed up. You understand? You have nothing left. All you have left is them reservation. And even on those reservations, you can't even have no clean water. Meanwhile, it is something evil, man. It is something evil for a race of people can't have no clean water on their land of the Shalom. Then here's the oppressor that's bottling me water, taking water, you understand, out of the spring, and selling that water, man. Yet the owners of the land can't even have that clean water. It is something utter, you understand, evil to the core. Not to even say, well, you know what? Those native Indians, they deserve clean water. Instead of me selling that bottle of water, let me go give it to them. That's it. Even though they could have sold the water, even though water is free, waters come from nature. But they could have said, well, you know what? Half is for the native Indian, and then I'll sell the other half. They could have said that. Native Indian got to buy bottled water on their own land. Why? Because they are not even allowed to have clean water, man. They're swallowed up in every side. Keep on going.
Come on. That ye might be a possession.
Now you might be what?
That ye might be a possession.
The native Indians are what?
A possession.
They are a possession, man. They are not free. We are not free. We are a possession. We came in captivity. We came in slavery, especially us in the island. We came in slavery. Some of us fought for freedom, like Haiti, like there's some other island, I believe Jamaica as well. But we were never free. We just wanted a little battle, but we were never free. We're still a possession. So our real freedom will mean we will have justice. Matter of fact, the Haitian had to pay France for France not to come back with more soldiers. This is why they paid France for. Because France was like, you know what? If you don't pay me for the loss that you created in my empire, we're gonna come back even stronger. So they had to pay France. So we are not free. We're still a possession, man. Keep on going.
Come. Unto the residue of the heathen.
Go ahead.
And ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are an infamy of the people.
Understand? We become something disgusting. We just become something with no value. We become something without no respect outside. When they talk about us, they don't talk about us with respect. They talk about us like we are good for nothing. All a woman is all just work. You understand? That's the way they talk. You understand? They talk about us, man. Meanwhile, you are God's greatest people. You are the greatest people on the face of the earth, man. Also, Zabadi Shalom, priest Yahweh Shem Shabbat.
Shalom, Akim Yahweh Shemir Shabbat.
What's going on, priest?
I'm Tuab.
Shalom. Understand? You are something great on this land, man. Meanwhile, you are a possession. Well, if you are a possession, what today? The Edomite possession. You are a possession to Edom. That means you are a slave of Edom. Where's the salvation for Edom comes into this play? Because now you are a possession. You are a slave. Now you telling me that those slaves are going to be saved exactly with the people that's oppressing them? It doesn't make sense. But those people that are being oppressed, they need salvation. They need saving. They need Christ. And God needs to bring wrath to the enemies, man. Keep on going.
Come. And ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are an infant.
Go to verse 5, Bible question.
Come, so verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God.
Listen, Christian. Listen good, Christian. Therefore, thus said the Lord God. This is God speaking.
Surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen.
It's surely against the, you understand? Surely in the fire of my jealousy. Why God is jealous? Just like we read before in Nahum. God is jealous. God is jealous. Why? Because of what they have done to his people. Just like Officer Shawan brought out. He who touches Israel touches the apple of his eye. Well, this is why God is jealous, because you committed crimes against his people. Keep on going.
And against all Idumea.
Against the residue of the Eden, which means the other nations, its enemies, and against whom?
And against all Idumea.
Not just some.
All Idumea.
All Idumea, which means what? All white, so-called white people. That's against all of you. Against all Canadian, against all French, against all Englishmen, against all Russian, Sweden, and who else? Germans. Understand? That's Idumea. Idumea is all the so-called oppressor, all the so-called European, all the so-called Caucasian is Idumea. Keep on going.
Which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart.
You understand? This is what we see in Israel today. We see that Idumea, the Jewish man, who is not a Jew, understand, who is a Khazarian, who is an Amalekite, has taken Israel with joy. You know, today they make you believe that it is their land. Meanwhile, it is not. It is your land, so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian. Keep on going.
With despiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey.
Go ahead.
Verse 6. Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains and to the hills, to the rivers and to the valleys, thus saith the Lord God.
Drop on at verse 12, Bible question. Now you've seen exactly that these are the nation possess Israel, right? Possess the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian. Now let's see what's going to happen.
Verse 12. Yea, I will cause men to walk upon you.
I will cause men to walk upon you, which means what? To tread on you, man. Just like you have I don't know if y'all seen that flag with the Edomite flag with the snake, and I say, don't tread on me.
Right. They displayed it during the Capitol riots.
God. Understand? Well, now God is saying, I will make man tread on you, man. I will make man walk all over you. Keep on going.
Come. Even my people Israel.
Who?
Even my people Israel.
This is what we also read in the beginning of the class when we went to Genesis chapter 49, verse 19, where it said, a military, you're still paraphrasing, a military shall overtake, a troop shall overtake God, but God shall overcome at last. Yeah. Even his people Israel. Keep on going.
And they shall possess thee.
They shall do what?
Possess thee.
Oh, I thought it was salvation for the heathens.
possess thee.
They shall possess thee. The same way that you see that Native Indian are in possession to the so-called oppressor, to the so-called Caucasian, the Caucasian will be a possession to the Native Indian. Give the Most High a hand. You understand? Give the Lord a hand. Because those Native Indian, you understand, will possess so-called Caucasian. That's justice. That's what the future is. This is why Christ is coming back. Not to save everybody, but to save his people, God's chosen people, and to put everybody in slavery. When a nation possess you, it's because you are captive, you are a slave to that nation. Just like we are in possession to the Caucasian today. We are slaves to the Caucasian. Well, what's going to happen? They will become our possession. They will become our slaves. Thus says the Bible. Thus says the Most High. Man. Keep on going.
And thou shalt be their inheritance. And thou shalt no more henceforth bereave them of men.
You understand? Now they're gonna be, you understand, they're gonna belong to so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian. This is justice. You understand? Matter of fact, this is in Revelation as well. He who bring in captivity shall go into captivity, man. Who's in captivity today? So-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian. Who put them in captivity? So-called Caucasian. Well, since Caucasian put those people in captivity, they will go in captivity as well. Thus says the Bible. This is justice, man. You understand? All right, drop that. I have a little article. I know we short time is running by fast. All right, I wanted to share an article with y'all. You understand? I wanted to share an article with you. Let me get it right quick. I'm gonna put it on the chat about question, all right? So I don't know if you have questions. Y'all gonna be able to read it on the chat.
RDR, if you send it to me, I can read it.
Okay, cool. If I put it on private over here, you think it's gonna be too wild?
Yeah, if you put it in the private chat, I can see it too.
Okay, cool. This one. I just sent it right now. There's another one also. Quick. Let's send it. Lawyer, over there. Come in.
RDR, can you hear me?
Yeah, come. I send it to you on the private chat.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you can hear me. All right, I got the article when you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so this is from CBC News. Canada aimed to destroy Indigenous people. The MMIWG inquiry case for genocide. Good night. Continues today with the over-apprehension of children. Lack of police protection, report says. It was an inescapable conclusion that genocide was committed against Canada's Indigenous peoples, said Marion Buller, the Chief Commissioner for the National Inquiry into the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women and Girls during a Monday news conference.
Which means which means they know the fact that that it is a genocide act. You understand? They committed on the Native Indian.
Right.
But everybody want to talk about what happened to the so-called Jewish man. But why not bring this forth? Why not say, well, there was more of them killed? There was at least 100 million of Native Indian. And if you put those in North America, those in the Caribbean, because they are Native as well, the Arawak, the Tainos, they are Native as well. The Latinos, they are Native as well. So there's more than 500 million of them that were killed. Why we never?
Right.
Why we don't want to open that conversation and say, well, they need the justice. The same way the Jewish man every year receives money from Canada as well. I believe there's a small portion of your tax dollar that you work all for that goes to the Jewish man. Well, what about the Native Indian? More of them were killed.
Right.
Why not deal just you understand, with justice? in this case? Why not care for the Native Indian the same way they care for the Jewish man? Come to find out, they don't because those people, those indigenous, those native are God's chosen people, and this is why they don't care about them. You understand? But we know that God do cares, you understand, about those Native Indian, and God is furious for the mistreatment of those Native Indian, man. So like it, please.
God, one moment. That conclusion has been reverberating across the country since news first surfaced on Friday that the inquiry had determined that thousands of those women and girls were victims of the Canadian genocide.
Which means still today, Officer Zabaja, this
Right.
genocide, you understand, it keeps on going still today. This is
Right.
your Canada Day. Understand? This is the Dominion Day. Genocide on the Native Indian. This is the supremacy of Canada, man. Genocide on the Native Indian.
Right.
You understand? So like,
Salakia, if I could keep reading this just a little more.
come on, go ahead.
Because this is definitely a Tawab article, which Salakia, I'm gonna put it in the chat after so everyone can read it, because this is definitely speaking to the issues of the so-called Gadites in Canada, right? So I'm gonna keep reading. The final report said Canada, from its pre-colonial past to today, has aimed to destroy indigenous peoples.
Right. That's in the news, priest. That's on the
Right.
CBC. Understand? They're saying still to today, they're trying to destroy indigenous people, Native Indian. So you need to tell me. So this goes to all the Christian, right? All the Christian in Canada. You mean to tell me that those people are going to be saved with those Native Indian? Those people aiming to destroy those Native Indian are going to be saved with those Native Indian? Or do those Native Indian need salvation from them? What makes more sense?
Right.
Still to this day, ever since 1492, still to this day, Canada's job is to destroy Native Indian. This is your Canada Day, man. This is your Dominion Day. This is your great empire that you're so proud of. Understand? Meanwhile, go ahead, Salaki. I don't want to take it all to myself. Go ahead, please.
No, Salaki, you could. I was interrupting you, Salaki. You can continue.
I was just gonna say, like this is what people celebrate today. You know what I mean? And still to this day, man, they know for a fact that the mission of Canada is to destroy the Native Indian. Go ahead, please.
Right. I was just gonna say, like reading this and hearing it, right? That we just read, it confirms what Commanding General Yahanna has been saying, right? What the Israelites, what the I.S.U.P.K has been saying, what Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have been saying for generations, right? The oppressor is out to destroy us, right? And this article says it. You can hear it from the goat's mouth. It says since the oppressors came off the ship, they've been out to destroy us, right? And Adiyar, I have a precept for why they don't want to talk about it, right? Why these oppressors don't want to talk about it, right? Because they look at themselves like they did nothing at all, right? Even today, I'm not sure if Officer Shariwan spoke on this earlier, right? Myself and Officer Shariwan, we're out doing a tape on the Prime Minister who basically introduced residential schools that had over 150,000 Gadite children taken from their parents. And oppressors did not like that. They wanted to know what we were doing, right? They even had the statue boarded up because they know people are going to protest it, but they're trying to say it's because of it needs maintenance.
They had the whole statue boarded up
Right.
Like they're trying to protect Canada's most valuable treasure.
Right. That's right. And why? Because that was the man that killed Native Indian, I believe.
Right. He basically introduced our residential schools through the Native Indian Act. Right. He had agents who were overseers. They were basically overseers on these reserves that basically because okay, in the same time, America is killing all the buffalo and all the bison. Right. Gadites would travel between Canada and America and migrate with the bison. So there's no bison. That's a major food source for the Gadites, so-called First Nations or Native Americans, right? So now they're depending on the oppressor to provide them food because the oppressor killed off all their food source. And the conservative government, who's John A. MacDonald, right? During this time, he has agents who are overseeing the food while the liberal government is charging him for not starving the Gadites enough. Right? He's saying my agents are starving the Gadites, and the liberal government is saying, well, you're not starving them enough. They're not going to do what we need them to do. Right? It's something we were talking about today. And we're going to bring that tape out most likely tomorrow, sometime tomorrow in the afternoon.
Good, nice. So basically, the liberals were saying, well, you got to starve them more so they could work.
Yeah, you got to starve them out more so they can work. The starvation was so bad you would see Gadites not walking. Like thousands of them would have trouble walking because they're so hungry.
And these are the people we want to save.
Right.
When we want to save those people, well, you know what we do? We take away the justice that those Gadites deserve, that those Native Indians deserve. We take away the pain that they suffer. Understand? You take away the genocide. You understand? The genocidal maniac act and crimes that were committed on them, man. This is what you do when you say everybody could be saved. You disregard the justice that those Native Indians deserve, man. Meanwhile, you understand, officers of Bible just said they were starving them, and the liberals were saying you don't starve them enough. They have to be more hungry so they could work. Nice. The white man is the devil indeed, man. You understand? The white man is the devil indeed.
And Salakia Adiyar, if I may. This is why this is why it's a good thing. It's an amazing thing to have found the I.S.U.P.K, because if not, we would have been outside trying to vote for some oppressor as a joke. Not that we even care, but just as a joke, right? Because a lot of the young black people, they don't care about voting. They just go do it because someone tells them to do it, right? As I just broke down, the conservative government was starving Native Americans in Canada. The liberal government was complaining the conservative government is not starving them enough. Every 4 years, liberals and conservatives come around your neighborhood and beg for Black, Hispanic, and Native American votes, when historically none of them have cared for us, right? Salaki Adia, I do have a precept if I could.
Yeah, of course, please.
Okay, Officer Shariwan, can you get me Zechariah 11 and 4? Right, and this goes to Officer Adiyar's question of why can't we talk about it, right? Because oppressors don't want us to talk about our pain. Oppressors only want to talk about their pain. They want to talk about their pain and celebrate their victories over us. That's what Canada Day is. It's a victory over our brothers and sisters. It's a victory over us while we're in slavery, right? Especially in the Caribbean islands. Like, if you're in the Caribbean islands, Canada Day is a victory over Benjamite brothers and sisters. You could who else we got down there? Seminole brothers and sisters. Simeon, Haiti, right?
The Tainos, the Awa.
Right. Canada Day is a symbol of the victory, because Canada Day benefits from the oppression that happens in these islands, right? That's why they have embassies and they own resorts. The Canadian government owns resorts in some of these islands, right? Some of these Canadian companies you will see down in the Caribbean islands while our people starve. Shariwan, whenever you got it, you can read it.
Hey, Shalom, Thumb.
Hey, Shalom.
Hey, Shalom, Barak. Yeah, Bashim Shabrakatha. What's going on, Barak? You two up?
Okay, that's when the slavery jumping into class.
Most High in Christ, Most High in Christ. This is a Tawab place to be in this class. Shaywan, you can read.
Come. It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 11 and verse 4. Thus saith the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter.
Right, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you need to be fed. We're the slaughter. We're the ones that are being slaughtered in these streets, up and down in the highways and byways of Canada, in the countryside. Right, you see the northern hemisphere is being scorched and smoked out. Right, and you'd best believe Gadites on these reservations are going through a terrible time. Right, they were already going through a terrible time before the fires. Right, you see in certain areas in Toronto that you see more and more blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans on the streets suffering. You see it in Montreal. You can't help but see it in Montreal. Right, all throughout Canada, you see us suffering because we're slaughtered from our oppressor. Right, we're the sheep that are slaughtered, and we need to be fed, and that's what Commanding General YAHANNA sent us out here to do. He sent us to feed, because that's the same thing Christ sent the disciples out to do, was to feed his flock. Keep reading.
Come. Verse 5. Whose possessors slay them.
Now, Adiyar, this is going exactly to what you were talking about, why we're not allowed to talk about what happens to us, right? Our possessors, the people who possess us, we're still in captivity because there's a power above us. Not like our oppressors in power. That's what I'm saying, right? Our oppressor is in power in Canada. We're at the bottom and they're at the top of the hill looking down at us as we starve and work for them. Keep reading.
Come. And hold themselves not guilty.
Right, we're being starved and killed and genocide, right? That's what Officer RDR is talking about, the genocide of missing Native American women and girls, right? They're presumed missing or murdered. Since the 70s, I think the number is well above 70,000 missing women. We did a class on this not too long ago, right? You could go back and find it, right? But there are missing sisters that no one knows where they are, right? And sadly, you see, what we do find out is a lot of our brothers and sisters that go missing, they're being sex trafficked, right? And they're being slain, and no government is stopping them. No government's batting an eye to say, hey, what is going on? Finally, there's an inquiry, and now they're saying it's a genocide. But are the Gadites going to receive justice in this kingdom? Sure, you want to keep reading?
Come. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich.
Right, so they hold themselves not guilty. They sell us and kill us and say, bless the Lord, they're rich. Right, and that's what our oppressor does. He has money to give to everyone except for the victims of the crimes that the oppressor has committed against the children of God. Keep reading.
And their own shepherds pity them not.
And you have some, well, June just ended. You had some pastors, a bunch of these well-to-do pastors, these prosperity pastors, right? And leaders and people who go into other countries and say, listen, you got to marry, you got to keep it black, but spend African and marry African, right? You got a bunch of leaders who are prostitutes. They're straight up hoes, right? They don't pity us. Martin Luther King did not pity us, right? They only care about how much they can fill their gullet, right? Sure, you want, was that it?
That's the end of verse 5, sir. Come.
Right, Thuwada Adiyar, Thuwada Shariwan.
And that was an excellent precept as well. You understand? And this go out also to Canada when the precepts say, if I rephrase it, I don't want to get it wrong, and they do all this to us, and they say, well, you know what? We are rich. Understand? This is the pride of Canada. Canada Day is about where we are rich and meanwhile we put those people in captivity and oppress them and never give them justice. This is your Canada Day, man. Understand? So, Bible question, okay? You could read, keep on going on the article Bible question.
Con, no sweat. One moment.
Okay. Understand? It is something evil. Canada Day is something evil. It's just like Thanksgiving. A lot of Christian things like, well, Thanksgiving is about, well, it's a day where everybody just say thank you to the Most High. Understand? It's a Christian nation and so on. Come to find out, Thanksgiving is about the genocide act. You understand? The genocidal crime committed on the Native Indian after committed a big massacre on the Native Indian. The oppressors say, well, you know what? I'm gonna say thank you, God, for those crimes. I'm gonna cook some turkey and have a big feast, but because I just killed a bunch of native. That's what also is about. Just read for you, man. You understand? It is something evil. Canada Day is evil, and God is against Canada. God is against all oppressors. Go ahead. You got it, priest?
Con, back to the article. Canada has displayed a continuous. Salakia, one second, it just jumped. Canada has displayed a continuous policy with shifting expressed motives, but an ultimately steady intention to destroy indigenous peoples physically, biologically, and also as social units, thereby
Salaka, good, nice. That means in every way, their motive is to destroy Native Indian.
right,
Understand? And who's the savage again?
right,
Those people are savages, or those people that's trying to destroy them in every way. Meanwhile, the Native Indian, what are they doing right now? Just want to be left alone. Just they're trying to live life. Just trying to survive. What did they do when those oppressors came in Canada? Did they fight them right away? No. They showed them how to live. They welcomed them. They showed them real brotherhood. Who's the savage, man?
right.
You understand? So like y'all sisters about it.
No sweat. I just want to read that part again.
Go on, go ahead.
Canada has displayed a continuous policy with shifting expressed motives, but an ultimately steady intention to destroy indigenous peoples physically, biologically, and as a social unit, thereby fulfilling required specific intent elements, said a supplemental report.
Nice. That means they know exactly what they're doing to the Native Indian, man.
Right.
They know exactly, that they want to destroy those Native Indian, and this is the agenda. This is your Canada Day. This is your Dominion Day. Just like I was asking earlier, when they call it Dominion Day, why did they call it Dominion Day? Because it is white supremacy over those Native Indians. It is dominion against those Native Indian, man. It is the control over Native Indian, the destruction of a Native Indian. That's Canada Day, man. That's your Christian empire. That's your Canada could be saved. Anybody in Canada could be saved. Meanwhile, their plan is to destroy those Native Indians.
Right.
Keep on going.
Concert. The inquiry based this partly on the Salakia. The inquiry bases partly on the UN's 1948 definition of genocide. According to the UN, genocide is any 5 acts committed with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a nation, ethnically, racially, or religious group. The acts are killing members of the group. Good night, Salakia. Causing serious bodily harm or mental harm to members of the group. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. Imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. Forcibly transferring children of the group to another group.
Good
Good
night.
night. That's everything.
So that's everything they did to the Native Indian. Even when you
Right.
say prevent birth, they sterilize Native Indian. They're doing the same thing in South America and certain countries, man.
Right.
Now you telling me that those people could be saved? Now you telling me that those Native Indians don't need salvation from those people? You better wake up, man. You better wake up, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, because here's the oppressor. The oppressor knows exactly what he's doing to you, man. He knows it that he's destroying you, and his plan is to destroy you. Yet all you want to say is kumbaya, let's all get together, let's all love one another. He doesn't have no love for you. All he wants is you to be destroyed. And we've been destroying this place, man.
Right.
Why the UN is not bringing this up? Why this is not a case in the UN, and the UN is not bringing Canada in the international court?
Right.
Why?
Why are there sanctions against Canada?
Why exactly, Officer Badger? Why there's no sanction against Canada? Meanwhile, they know this is genocide on the Native Indian.
Right.
And they're gonna tell you, well, we're gonna we're gonna sanction Gaddafi. We're gonna sanction these Arab leaders. We're gonna sanction everybody else that we don't like. Yet they are committing genocide on the Native Indian. Not one sanction against them. Why is that? Understand? Canada, this is a shame for you, Canada. Canada Day should be a day where all of you Canadian, Frenchmen, Englishmen, you reflect on the fact that your whole livelihood is because the genocide act on this Native Indian. Your whole empire is built upon destroying another group of people, man.
Right.
And guess what? You are destroying God's chosen people. You are destroying the tribe of God according to the Bible and history, man. And God is furious against it. And God will bring vengeance on your head swiftly because of what you have done and doing to those people, man. Here it is. We've seen all the acts, you understand, that define what a genocide is. All these have been done to so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian.
Right.
Especially those Native Indian, man. At least some of us, we could say, well, 81 the war. We could say, well, you know what? We have some leaders that spoke. We have Marcus Garvey and whatnot. Native Indian don't have nobody to speak up for, man, except the I.S.U.P.K. Understand? We're the only organization that stand for really and truthfully, without no motive behind, you understand, our work, that stand up for those Native Indian. And we are the only group that understand that justice for the Native Indian means that Canada got to be destroyed. There will be no Canada Day, man. Understand? There will be no more Canada Days as soon as Christ gets here. Why? Because those Native Indian are Christ, you understand, Christ brothers and sisters, man. They are Christ people, man. It is a shame for you, Canada, to still go in this land and live in this land. It is a shame for you, Canada, man, to have these people, a people that was at peace with you, a people that showed you how to grow your crops, how to survive the winter, how to have some sense of hygiene. And in return, to say thank you, you destroyed them. And today you feel proud. You feel, well, you know what? It is not my fault. It is not my fault. It is their fault. They did it to themselves. It is something evil, man. You understand? Matter of fact, drop this. Do you want to get some more? Or?
Just this last part.
Come, go ahead.
The last paragraph, right? The Canadian state has found what Salakia. The Canadian state was founded on colonial genocide policies that are inextricably linked to Canada's contemporary relationship with Indigenous peoples, said the supplementary report.
Which means Canada is built on genocide.
Right.
This
and
Canada.
Right.
Go ahead, Officer.
Salaki, like even when I read that part, like it's basically saying like how they treat Gad today. Like you're not getting no water because we haven't been giving you water since we got here, right? We're not giving you anything because we've been taking everything since you got here, and that's how they're dealing with them now, right? And then just to add on to what you were saying, like there are no leaders outside. Like in Canada, we're the leaders. We're the leaders. I'm gonna say it clear as possible. We are the leaders. You should get in class. You should find out how to learn from Commanding General Yahanna, how to get with I.S.U.P.K. Canada, because the leaders of the Native Americans, or the so-called Gadites, First Nation people, I seen a so-called Gadite leader. I'm gonna call this man a $5 Indian because he put a headdress on the Pope.
Good night.
The same Pope who's in the house of abuse against Native Americans, and they put a headdress on him and said, like, listen, all is forgiven. Good night. That you have no leaders if they're doing that. Your leaders are weak. Salakia.
Salakia. Go ahead, I'll say the Shalom.
Salakia, just a small point to add on what Officer's body is saying. Like that scripture you brought out, Officer Adiyar, where they were saying aha, where they're laughing at us. Like they put those $5 Indians up there, right, to act like there's some voice for, or like there's some voice for what the Gadite brothers are going through here in Canada. Meanwhile, they're sitting there making a mockery, you understand, of our culture, making a mockery of the things that we stand for. Right? Like they're laughing at us in our face. It's just so heavy what your brothers are bringing out. Salakia.
Salakia. I was watching a movie, right? I was watching a movie, and the movie, like, has to do with some Native Indian. They built this big hotel, or this big residential place on top of a burial ground of Native Indian. Now in the movie, they are like a map, and they're a bunch of teenagers and everything. Then they were saying, well, how come one of the Edomite girls said, well, this is messed up. This is effed up because they built the place, or the house on top of the Indian burial ground, right? And afterward, the Edomite, another Edomite answered that did it on purpose. Then she asked, why did they do that? Listen to the answer. To show the Indians that they are no longer wanted here. You don't want to just win. You want to destroy them. You want to embarrass them. That way they never want a rematch. That's what they did to the Native Indians. That's what's going on here. You understand? They put that in the movie. I was like, good night. Whoa. But you understand? I was shocked they put that in the movie and say bluntly, we just want to destroy them. We want them to be, you understand, to be embarrassed, to be ashamed, to never even come against us. What the prophecy says, what? The prophecy says, a troop shall overcome Gad, and Gad shall overcome at last. Those Native Indians that you see in the reservation, those Native Indians that are living under the bridge, those Native Indians that are you understand, that are drunken in the street, that are full of crack, full of heroin, you understand? They will have their vengeance, man. Their vengeance,
right?
And Christ is gonna make sure of it, man. There will be no right for the oppressor. All that is for the oppressor is death and slavery, death and servitude. That's what's coming for the oppressor, man. Canada Day is a shame to Canada, because you could see on the news, we see exactly that Canada Day is about genocide. Matter of fact, bring me to the other article about question. Before we'll close with the article, right?
Okay.
Let me share it as well. This one, yes. We'll just get like two or three paragraphs from it, and then.
Khan, this is the other article. The genocide of indigenous peoples, colonial genocide, or settler genocide, is the elimination of entire communities of indigenous people as a part of the process of colonialism. Genocide of the native population is especially likely in cases of settler colonialism, with some scholars arguing that settler colonialism is inherently genocidal.
Which mean this they made a bunch of colonies in Canada, right? They colonized Canada, right? And they know it
Right.
is about genocide. You understand? That's how they colonized Canada, by through genocide. You understand? They didn't do it by like I said before. They didn't do it because they love the Native Indian. They weren't giving Native Indian flowers and hugs and kisses. They killed them. They murdered them. You understand? Go ahead.
Slovakia, one moment. While the concept of genocide was formulated by Raphael Lemkin in the mid-20th century, the expansion of various European colonial powers, such as the British and Spanish empires, and subsequent establishment of colonies on indigenous territories frequently involved acts of genocidal violence against indigenous groups in the Americas, Australia, Africa, and Asia.
All right, we could drop it there, right? All right. All he's saying is like this is how they colonized nations through genocide. Understand? Through genocide, this is how they colonized nation. Canada Day is just a feast about the genocide. It's just the pride of the oppressor being proudful because they committed acts of murder on the Native Indian. Matter of fact, just to live. Let me show you a prophecy, and this is a good prophecy that all of you should have, right? Somebody bring me to Genesis, Numbers 24, verse 17. And also, this is good for all the Christians out there. Numbers 24, verse 17.
So, I got it out of one.
This is a prophecy that I love to give to all the Christians that say, well, Christ is gonna come back to save everybody, and this, so they gotta explain this prophecy. All right.
There's the book of Numbers, chapter 24, verse 17. I shall see him, but not now.
You understand? This is a prophecy of Balaam. You understand? There was a Moabite king called Balak, and he for 3 times he asked Balaam to curse the nation of Israel. So the two first time Balaam, you understand, blessed the nation, and the third time Balaam was like, well, I cannot say whatever. It's not coming from me. I cannot say good or bad against the nation of Israel. Whatever the Most High wants is what I'm gonna have to say. Then the third time is he prophesied. This is the third time we're reading about. He prophesied. He said to Balak, well, this is what those children, those Native Indian, those Negroes, those Latinos will do to your people. Go ahead from the top.
Karawakan, Numbers chapter 24, verse 17. I shall see him, but not now.
So I'm gonna see somebody. I'm gonna see that person, but I'm not seeing it right now. It's something that's gonna come in the future. That's what it's saying. Go ahead.
Karawakan, I shall behold him, but not night.
You understand? I'm not gonna be close to him, but I'm gonna see him. I'm gonna see his glory. Go ahead.
Karawakan, there shall come a star out of Jacob.
A star out of Jacob. For those that say the star of Molech is the shield of David, the star is somebody. Understand? In the Bible, the star of this, the star of that, it is a person that represents something else. Who's the star of Jacob?
It's like the other one.
Go ahead.
Would that be would that be Yahushai?
Yahushai. This is Jesus Christ. This is, you understand? This is the superstar that come out of Jacob. You understand? Think of it as being a superstar. A superstar, somebody's famous, the main man that's coming out of Jacob. Go ahead.
Karawakan, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel.
You understand? A scepter. You understand? Which means a scepter is is a baton that you understand the king has that shows his rulership, right? So a scepter, you understand something? A strong baton is gonna stand up in the midst of Israel. This is also talking about Christ. Go ahead.
Karawakan. And shall smite the corners of Moab.
Shall smite. To smite means what?
To like the other one.
Go ahead.
To kill.
To kill. You understand? Shall kill, shall destroy. The corners of Moab represent what? What is the corner? The corner of Israel. Go ahead, please.
Salaki, would that be like the Salaki, the corners of Moab being like the outskirts of Moab, or the edges of what's Moab?
When you have like the edges, like the corners of Moab, the corners of the people,
The border.
The border, exactly. The border of Israel will represent what?
Our leaders.
Our leader, our military, right? The people that's
Right.
you. The corners of, like you're saying, in the corners in the border, you had the big wall, like the big wall of China, right? To protect those Moabites, to protect China. So the corners will be, you understand, the leaders, the military, and so on. Go ahead. So Christ is gonna do what? Destroy their military, destroy the corner of Moab, destroy their leader, kill them. Go ahead.
Karawakan. And destroy all the children of Seth.
Go ahead.
Karawakan, verse 18. And Edom shall be a possession.
Edom shall be what?
A possession.
Canada shall be what?
A possession.
Wait. France, England shall be what?
A possession.
And this is in Numbers 24th chapter. This is a prophecy about Christ, about the second return of Christ, where Moab is going to be destroyed, where the so-called Edomite, you understand, so-called white people will become a possession. That's
right.
In the Bible. You understand? That's in the Bible. That's the second return of Christ inside of the Bible. It doesn't say Edom is going to be saved. It says they're going to become his possession. Why would they become a possession? Because they put those Gadites in, you understand, in slavery. Because you understand, those Gadites are possession of the Edomite today. Well, you know what? Justice is, they will become the possession of those Gadites. Those same native Indian that you see, you understand, being poor and destroyed, all of you Canadian, all of you oppressed, all of you Caucasian will become their slave. Thus says the Bible. You understand? To what a priest, to what everybody, you understand, for showing up. To what I can.
Right.
You understand? Yeah, I'm gonna ask anything else before we close out.
So Lakia, there was something you were saying earlier, right? Where you were basically talking about the movie and how like it rings true to the spirit of our oppressor, where they humiliate us, they totally destroy us to a pulp. Like so we don't want to fight, right? And General Mahayaman said this last year when he came up for the class, right? Oppression has worked in Canada, and that's exactly what I heard when you were describing that movie, right? It explains what has happened to us. Oppression has just worked, right? To a point where our brothers and sisters are beaten down so much they don't want to fight. They don't know how to fight, right? They just rather be complacent.
And this is the spirit of the oppressor. But the good news is, understand? The good news is, the Lord says, vengeance is mine. Understand? The good news is, vengeance is the Most High, and the Most High will bring vengeance on the oppressor, on our enemies, on all heathen nation that took part of our slavery. Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.
In Christ. You understand? That being said, you understand, I close the class. I pass the class to Officer 500 Zabaja. Salaki, 500 Barakala. Salaki.
Okay. Salaki, give me 1 second. This is the I.S.U.P.K security announcement. We are the I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, started out on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, If a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18 verse 21 and Malachi chapter 3 verse 8 to 10 means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Upcoming holy convocation, we have coming up the memorial of blowing of trumpets, which is the first day of the 7th month, which lands on Friday the 15th of September. You can read more about it in the book of Leviticus chapter 23 verse 24 to 25. Reminder to all Akim and Aquatian to check the bulletin board in the hallway of the physical school. They have a physical location. And if any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, blue shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. But that's how we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel Amajim, which means to stand. Men of Israel Amajim Shabbat. Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yajamata, which means hands down. Sar, which means to turn and face the sisters. If you have any of your presents, we're going to give them a courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amajim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shema, Yajamata, class dismissed.